It's the Las Vegas Sportsline, presented by CG Technology Sportsbook.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
CG Sportsbooks Thursday here on the Las Vegas Sportsline. That means Jason Simbal coming up in a little bit. And a great guest today. We've got Paul Stone, who is winning the leading, I should say. Winning is, it's too early to say winning, but he is leading the Golden Nugget.
He is
Ultimate Football
currently
Challenge.
winning.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything 10 weeks in. It means he's in good shape to cash out and maybe get the ultimate 48, 18, and 4. Paul Stone will join us later in the show. Paul's a great guy. I haven't talked to him for a while, so I'm looking forward to that. Ralph Michaels is here. I'm Dave Koken, and Mark Seidel's producing the show. We start with good news. The Golden Knights, I think their best performance of the season last night. Granted, it was against the Ducks. Granted, there was no Cam Fowler on the ice for Anaheim, and he's vital to that team. But it was still 5-0. Flurry between the pipes was tremendous. They got some offense. Hopefully this gets them rolling. They've had a tough schedule so far, so there's lots of time still to go in this hockey season. And a good 2 points for the Golden Knights last night, and they rewarded their backers with a very easy win.
Be it the Military Appreciation Night, be it the national NBC TV and the later start from the national anthem when they were singing it to the Knights screaming out during the anthem. It was a different crowd. It was a different atmosphere, and the players responded that way. They
still have a tremendous home ice advantage. Got to get going on the road. A little bit of bad news. I think we kind of knew it was coming. Eric Haula, talented forward. He is listed now as month to month with the injury that he...
That's not good.
No, so he's probably going to be out until, one would think, after the All-Star break. And that's definitely a loss. But good 2 points last night. Hopefully that gets the Golden Knights on a hot streak. We've got a lot to cover in today's show, so we're not going to waste any time. We will get right into tonight's action by checking out our Thursday MJ Christensen Diamonds 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
About Black Friday sales, you'll hear about that endlessly with Black Friday a week from tomorrow. Well, they're coming fast and furious. MJ is going to have their own Black Friday sales. Only their Black Friday sales are going to be every day, not just one day, every day. That's right, it's already started, actually. Started on November 12th. Every day, a holiday Black Friday event. They've got tremendous discounts. You're talking about something like 60% off on select items in designers. That is pretty awesome. So check it out. Visit mjchristensen.com. Check out their Facebook page. Or better yet, visit the store in person. They're one store. They're one location. It is a beautiful store in Boca Park. MJ Christensen, we're proud to have them as sponsors, and we hope you'll do business with them. We look to tonight's football, and we have movement on all three of these games, actually. So we'll find out what the sharp money's doing from Jason Simbal, but we can talk first about the matchup, Toledo and Kent State. The Rockets were big favorites, not quite as big as we get closer to game time. And, Ralph, weather alert. It's going to be action on a nasty night.
It is.
It's not pleasant there.
Yeah, and the worst thing is if you're, I'm from Cleveland in that area, when it's 38 degrees and it might rain instead of snow, that's worse than snowing. You're just miserable. There will be nobody in the stands.
No.
But you look at Toledo, they've been a decent away favorite. They're 7-3 as an away favorite the last 4 years. But I like this new Kent State team. They're pushing the tempo. And if you look at them in their last 3 games, they outgained Ohio at home. They outgained Akron at home. They outgained Buffalo they outgained Bowling Green on the road. And their only 2 games they got outgained by were Miami of Ohio, which you said is your second strongest team in the MAC right now, power rated wise, I believe.
In league play, yes.
And Buffalo is the first.
Right.
And those are the only. So when you have only those 2 losses and you outgained your other 3 foes, that's the way you want to end the season with a first-year head coach putting in those systems.
The one thing I worry about is attempting to run that. What do they call it? Something flash offense. They came up with a clever name for it. Boy, in this weather, that's tough.
It is, but the winds weren't supposed to be too bad. So if the winds stay down low, they'll be okay.
I know this. The money is showing on Kent State. Public is on Toledo. So this might be a pros versus Joes. We'll talk about that with Jason in a bit. I think this next game certainly is at least we know what side the pro money's on. We'll find out where the Joes are. Tulane and Houston matching up. This is a big game because there's a 3-way tie in that division right now between Tulane, Houston, and SMU. And surprisingly, the team that's struggling with their current form the most, the Houston Cougars. They have not played well lately. All three teams are 4-2. Tulane still needs a win to get to a bowl game, which was their stated goal before the season started. They match up well with Houston because they run a hybrid option. They want to run the ball maybe 3 out of every 4 plays if possible. And Houston's defense against the run has been awful lately. Their last 4 games, they've given up better than 5 yards a whack and better than 1,000 yards. Houston's going to score their points. They've got a good offense, but I don't think they're going to be. Let's just put it this way. I think this is going to be a trade-em points game. And if you're getting 10, which is no longer the number, it's dropped down to 8 now. But to me, more than a touchdown, I think you got to side with the dog here.
Houston in their last 4 games has given up 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
You know, going back to the Navy and South Florida game, 2 teams whose offenses aren't playing that well, and they're still allowing those yards. You know, Tulane's the team you want if you want to shorten the field. They're 1-7 over under their last 8 games. They're rushing for 217 yards per carry on the season, 4.7 yards per carry.
Not bad. Green Wave have been a good story this year. They're one of those teams that has been very live as a dog. Where you want to go against them is when they're chalk. They have not been able to deliver in the favorites role, and that's it's 2 different mindsets. When you're the favorite, you've got the pressure on you. When you're the dog, you can use that as a sign of disrespect and take it as a added motivation. Northwestern is the classic example of that. The dog has covered every Northwestern game this year. It's pretty close to that as far as Tulane's concerned. Florida Atlantic, well, they're closing in on getting back to a bowl. They've started to play well at the end of the season again. They will go into North Texas tonight. Money today has shown on the Mean Green, who have been a disappointing team in the second half of the season. Which Florida Atlantic will show up? They hurt me last week. I bet them too soon. I did not anticipate the number going down in their game with Western Kentucky. They actually closed 17.5. I had laid 19.5. They won by 19. I normally get the best of it in college football, but this is one time I didn't, and it ended up biting me. They could have won that game by a lot more. They had 3 red zone opportunities in the first half where they only got 3 points total out of them. They missed a field goal on one and had a turnover on another. So it was a game that FAU probably should have won easily. I think the current form does favor the Owls here. North Texas was expecting to perhaps be playing in the conference championship game based on their relative strengths going into the season. It has not worked out that way. They are off a terrible come from way ahead loss. I think it was 31-3, and they lost the game.
28-0, yeah.
28-0, 31-3 to Old Dominion, and they lost the game. That's not the first time they've lost a game where they had a big lead. But the number's gone up.
Their other loss to UAB, they were up 21-10 at the half.
Yep.
And they lose that by a touchdown. So your last 2 losses,
you
had a 49-10 edge.
They also
in
were
the
up.
Second quarter.
They were also up 21-6 in. And I'm blanking on the opponent right now, but they were up 21-6 and lost that game.
La Tech.
That's right. It was La Tech, and they got a
21-6 first
and
quarter.
by the way,
yeah.
They should have gone for the jugular on the last possession. Instead, they start milking the clock to set up a field goal, and they missed the field goal. God, it drives me crazy when coaches do that. Try and score the touchdown, will you? Anyway, I don't know why the number's moving up. Maybe Jason will be able to tell us when we are joined by him in a few minutes.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth, and you look at North Texas, and we're going to see what kind of head coach he is, because when you have a 28-0 lead and you blow that lead to Old Dominion, a team you're a 14-point favorite against, if he gets them motivated. North Texas, by the way, is somewhere between 0-8-2 or 0-10 over-under on the season.
Wow.
Their last 2 games have finished right around the number, depending what line you got.
And we'll look at the NBA because the Warriors are in action tonight, and they're playing the Rockets, who are starting to show signs of being the Rockets. The Warriors have had a week where they've basically taken the week off. And Steph Curry is out of the lineup, and they're not the same team without him. So, I got to think the Rockets might get some attention from bettors tonight.
Yeah, I agree. You have the soap opera, of course, with Draymond Green coming back after the suspension, and then you have Carmelo Anthony missing his 3rd straight game.
Well, he's
with
done.
him being ill or sick.
Gone,
yeah,
so.
he doesn't get the playing time he wants. But I think Houston wants to establish themselves without Curry playing. I think they're the better team at home. They've had a tough schedule where they've had 6 of their last 7 games on the road. Now back at home, I think they get it done.
We have Jason Simbal on with us almost every Thursday, and this segment probably gets more positive reviews from listeners than any segment we do all week.
And well-deserved.
Oh, I'm telling you, the information that Jason's able to provide us from behind the counter in these football games, it is absolutely sensational.
What are we going to do next week? It's Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know. Jason, we're not
Jason will just have to call you and me and give us the rundown, and we'll...
Can you do that, Jason?
A little rundown over turkey and stuffing.
Yeah, there you go. We won't do a show, but Ralph and myself will be happy to take the information. So let's get right to it because, we've got some good stuff tonight, and we're seeing movement on all 3 of these college games. So we'll start with the Kent State-Toledo, where it looks like there's sharp money on the Golden Flashes here.
Absolutely, all over the dog early. So open 13, that's Toledo minus 13. And took actually pretty sharp plays at plus 13 and plus 12. We went to 11. Not really much on the game since it's been 11, but that initial move definitely did come in on the dog.
The other game tonight that's moved quite a bit is Houston and Tulane, and Houston, I think, lost to SMU and blew that lead, and it cost them 2 losses. It cost them the next week again. Do the public think it'll cost them a 3rd loss?
Yeah, so funny about this game is I actually, based on the betting, and I mentioned that before, I think Tulane might be live to actually win this game.
Me too.
Yeah, only because, for 2 reasons. The number here is 9, and it was bet all the way down to 9. The ticket count is way in favor of Houston, meaning the public is on Houston, but sharp side is definitely Tulane, but one of our better college football bettors took Tulane on the money line. They're at plus 260. Not something that this person normally does. So when they're on a dog at that price, makes me think that they got a shot live.
Jason, just another point on that Houston game. In their first 7 games, they were plus 7 turnovers. They never lost the turnover battle. In their last 3 games, they lost the turnover battle in 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff, and I think there might be something that people have seen on the betting windows on Houston that is making them fade them here.
They can't play defense. That's what I've seen. I mean, they can't play defense at all. And even the 3rd game on the college side is now getting some action because there's been something happening that's caused the number to go up on the Florida Atlantic North Texas game.
Yeah, this one's up to 4 now, and really very lopsided action here. In fact, all 3 of these games are pretty lopsided. This is the only one, though, that's lopsided in favor of the favorite, which is North Texas. So this is kind of contrary to the last game. They're actually betting North Texas on the money line, as well as North Texas minus the 4. So really, this looks like this 4 might not last very long, to be honest with you guys.
Basically, you could say the Seahawks playoff stretch starts tonight. Basically, a must-win against the Packers. What's this game doing over across the board?
Really good action on this game so far. The handle for this game is going to be pretty high, which is nice to see. So it's a pretty fun matchup. Obviously, the Packers are a bit of a public team, so they always get a lot of support in all of their games. Sharp side is Seattle on this one. We had somebody way early in the week on Monday try to bet double our limit on the Seahawks. They were 2.5 at the time. We took half of that, which it was our limit, and allowed that person to lay the 2.5. So knew that this move was coming, and it did. The Seahawks are now minus 3, minus 20. Also on this one, a little bit of action on the over a 49. It was 48 the other day. So Seahawks and over seems to be the sharp side on this one.
The beauty of sports wagering is that every weekend's a big weekend in college football. Now, for the average fan, this is kind of a blah weekend with not a lot of great games.
It's the SEC bye weeks or FCS, SEC games.
Right. I mean, the big games are coming, but this is kind of the blah week. But not at the betting windows. We got some great matchups that are attracting a lot of action, so let's get to them. And we'll begin with Wisconsin-Purdue, where there's been some movement in this game, that's for sure.
There has been, absolutely. And you mentioned it. It's really not on paper the most fun slate of games, but there's a point spread on every one of them, so the handle will still be pretty good. This game opened with Purdue as a 5.5-point favorite, got bet down to 4.5. We took one bet plus 5.5. Don't bother going to 5 because it's kind of a dead number, so we went right to 4.5. And then we took another bet on Wisconsin plus the 4.5, which is why it went down to 4. Also figure that they're going to take Wisconsin on the money line. We're at plus 160 with Wisconsin on the money line, which is pretty much the best price out there. So I would figure we're going to take a bet on Wisconsin money line as well. But that's it. Definitely the dog is on the money on from the sharps are on the dog here. And